Hello, your fiction here. One piece of the last transmissions. This is going to be really short. Um, Today I saw this in my news feed on Facebook. So Gay Marriage USA posts another one who has a place already reserved in hell. And then here we look at the headline and it says, Pat Robertson, gays and Islamists are allies, so let them kill themselves. All right, well, you know what? I don't really have a dog in this race. I really don't like Pat Robertson for so many different reasons. But I'm always, so you know what? I'm interested in looking at what he says. So I went over to YouTube and actually checked out what he really says. And, let's just listen to this together.
One more time, I want to mention the fact that this is a religious belief. It is deeply ingrained in the people. And for when our president refuses to acknowledge it, when the Secretary of State, now the Democratic nominee for president, refuses to acknowledge and says that this is a slur against a, quote, great religion, this is nonsense. This is what this great religion teaches. And it's right in the warp and woof of Islam. So whether you like it or not, that's the way it is. So the left is having a dilemma of major proportions. And I think for those of us who disagree with some of their policies, the best thing to do is to sit on the sidelines and let them kill themselves.
All right. Did you guys notice what he said? He did not even once refer to gays here. Let gays and Muslims kill themselves? Come on. This is just another bigoted way to distort this video. And yes, this is bigotry. Let's look at the definition really quickly. Simple definition of a bigot is a person who strongly and unfairly dislikes other people, ideas, etc. A bigoted person, especially a person who hates or refuses to accept the members of a particular group, such as a racial or religious group. And let's be honest, this thing here with Pat Robertson, this was about religion. People don't like the guy as it stands. I don't like him either, but he did not say this. What he actually said, he was referring to the left, which I don't like the name calling in general, but he was referring to the left and their policies and basically their denial of the problem that comes with radical Islam, or what some people call radical Islam. And basically he says, you know what, if they don't want to see what their policies are doing and where all of that is leading, then you know what, we should just sit back and watch how they basically destroy themselves by the means of their policy. Which means he says that the consequences of their policies will ultimately be that Islam or Muslims of the radical kind will show them the consequences, and they will basically do stuff like the shooting in Orlando. He did not say anything about gays at any point in this video. We need to stop distorting stuff, guys. We need to start to listen. When you listen and you really, and I was running this a little bit quickly. I usually listen to YouTube videos a lot quicker. But now listen to this and actually listen. Actually listen and hear how he's saying that the consequences of the policies of the left will ultimately lead them to destruction. That is what he's saying. Now, do I agree with that? I don't really agree with that. And I don't have a dog in this race. I'm not on the right or the left side, So for me, it doesn't make a difference. But I can also be objective, and listen to somebody, even somebody that I dislike, and hear what they actually said without distorting it.
One more time, I want to mention the fact that this is a religious belief. It is deeply ingrained in the people. And for our president.
Okay, number one, by the way, it's somewhat a little bit difficult to say what he says it's a religious belief. I mean, if he refers it even to the left or to just radical Islam. Um, Obviously, people cut this, so we don't really have context, which is a different story, and I didn't really look into context right now. You guys might look into it. But
refuses to acknowledge it when the Secretary of State, now the Democratic nominee for president, refuses to acknowledge and says that this is a slur against a, quote, great religion. This is nonsense. This is what this great religion teaches. And it's right in the warp and woof of Islam.
Okay, so basically he is blaming the whole religion of Islam. He does say that the consequence of that religion, this is just where it leads to, which you can make cases for it, you can make cases against it. The way I usually see it is Islam, if you were following it exactly like the Quran says it, and Muhammad said it, basically, yeah, it's going to lead people to the extreme. But at the same time, most people that follow Islam, just like most people really that follow the Roman Catholic Church, are not really active in that way. They don't take their faith really that seriously. Yes, they go with certain traditions, and they somewhat have their faith in their life, and they do believe in a God. But again, if you look at a lot of Roman Catholics, I mean, they're not really active in their faith. They go to church during Easter and during Christmas, and that's pretty much it. And for a lot of Muslims, that's the same way it is. In their daily life, it doesn't have, not for everybody, it has this very high place, this very important place. Yes, people might still do Ramadan and all of these other traditions, but even when it comes down to praying 5 times a day, which is what a Muslim should do, even that you don't see with most Muslims. So really, it's like, just because somebody calls themselves a Muslim isn't a Muslim, which makes the whole thing a little bit more difficult. But yeah, basically he's condemning the religion itself, and he says if you're really following that religion, then ultimately it's going to lead to this negative place, which, like I said, you can make a case for it, you can make a case against it.
So whether you like it or not, that's the way it is. So the left is having a dilemma of major proportions, and I think for those of us who disagree with some of their policies, the best thing to do is to sit on the sidelines and let them kill themselves.
Okay, so again, like I said before, he is referring to the left. He's referring to the left, and he says because to him, it seems like they're ignoring the threat that comes from radical Muslims. Because of that, he sees that there are basically going to be consequences to that. He thinks that, without him saying it in this, he thinks that it's going to lead to more of this stuff, to more terrorism and all of that, and ultimately he says, you know what, we can't help them to understand this, so let's just step back and let's watch them destroy themselves. Now you can disagree with that, and I don't think, I don't know. I don't have a dog in this race. I don't profess to know what to do, would be best to do. I know certain solutions do not help. Very obviously, our wars in the Middle East have not helped. They have done the opposite. Very obviously, many statistics say that gun control doesn't really make a big change. And considering that, most terrorist attacks in the Middle East are really done with IEDs, so explosives, basically bombs. Well, it's probably not going to change that either. But again, this about this. Since we're talking about this video, ultimately, we're just gonna have to say this here: let gays and Muslims kill themselves. I don't know how you can equivocate or make him talking about the left equal to gays. I mean, it's not even like every gay is on the left side of the political issues. So how about we have a little bit more, we're a little bit more objective about this, okay? He didn't say this, and that's pretty much all I wanted to point out in this video. Let's be objective, guys. Let's keep rational about this and not have this hyper emotional culture war dictate how we think. Keep your thoughts free and keep your mind open. That's it for now. Your Fiction signing off. Bye bye.